Thanks for tuning in to Pest Empire Builder Podcast. On today's episode, we're talking about building your company and how to grow it with your marketing and your whole marketing strategy. Well, welcome to the show. I'm so glad you tuned in today. Today on Pest Empire Builder Podcast, we're here with Aaron Shishilla with WolfPack Advising, and we're talking about everything about how to do marketing and how to grow your business from lead gen to digital marketing and everything in between. Aaron, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Matt. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Doing good. Yeah, living life, living the dream. I'd mentioned earlier, I just got back from vacation, took my kids to Costa Rica for a week. We just had a total blast doing like zip lining in the jungle. And so, yeah, I'm still recovering from the sunburn. But, other than that, I'm doing pretty good.
You look fresh. You don't look burned. You look fresh.
Lots of makeup. No, I'm kidding. Okay. I'm not wearing makeup. But, but yeah, it's subsided. Now it's gone from the red stage to the peel stage. And then once the peel is done, I'll be back to my pasty white self because I just can't tan. It's like white people problems. I just can't tan.
Oh no.
I try hard, but that's good, man. That's good. How's your summer been?
It's been pretty good. I mean, honestly, I've been into the weeds with working. Lots about that. We're entering conference season, but I do have a vacation coming up too. Just like you, you're going to Costa Rica. I'm heading out to London for the first time, so that'll be exciting as well. Yeah. That's
so cool. That's on my bucket list, man. I really want to go to Europe. I haven't been to Europe at all yet.
No.
I've been all over in South America and Central America. But man, I need to go over there and check that out. That'd be super exciting.
Highly recommend Barcelona. Barcelona was so much fun.
Okay. How much time are you going to spend in London?
So we're spending about 2 or 3 days in London, and then we're taking a cruise from Southampton, England, and then going to north coast of Spain, and then also France. So
oh man, that is so exciting.
Yeah,
it's so exciting. Yeah, conference season is here though. It is coming. I look at my calendar. I'm like, oh boy, here comes the conferences. And it's good. It's always conference season is good. It can be a little tiring. And on your side, you're on the vendor side, so you're going to go to more conferences than the average. Right. With me, I own a business, so I'm going to go to like just maybe 2 or 3 or 4 that like specifically target what I need. But yeah, you're going to, you probably go to a lot more than I do.
I would say so. Yes. But for the first time ever, I'm going to a conference that's actually for WolfPack, for our business as an attendee. So I'm really excited about that because we're actually going to Inbound, which is HubSpot's conference. It's all about just marketing, CRMs, all the stuff that a digital marketing agency really needs.
Oh, so you're going as an attendee to grow your business versus going as a vendor to help get more business.
Yeah. I mean, we're attending a lot of different industry conferences in pest control and also in home inspections because those are the 2 primary markets that we serve. But for the first time ever, we're going to San Francisco, going to the Inbound conference, and those are going to have really big speakers, big names, just because it's a software company, right? So awesome. You got like big social influencers there, comedians there, lots of different like tech and marketing companies that are pretty big going and speaking. So much bigger, different crowd and kind of conference than the usual thing that I'm used to, but it'll be good. I hope to learn a lot.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. And for those people that are listening, the Empire Builder platform, the Inspection Empire Builders from Home Inspectors, and that was my first exposure to this platform. And now the Pest Empire Builder is in the pest control space. There's so many similarities between those businesses, and there's obviously a lot of nuanced differences as well. But yeah, both those industries are phenomenal industries to be in. And Inspection Empire Builder has made a massive impact in the home inspection space, and Pest Empire Builder is now starting to make a big impact in the pest control space. And if you're not a member of Pest Empire Builder, I promise you this, it's one of the best decisions you can make. It's something that gives you the right framework and blueprint to scale your company quickly and be able to grow it to a very large size if that's what your end goal is. But if you're going to grow a company to a large size, you got to have your marketing down, which is why, Aaron, you're on the show today. We got to talk about marketing, lead gen, all those types of things. How'd you get into marketing, lead gen, and what's your favorite part about the whole marketing stuff?
Yeah, that's a great segue, by the way. It's a fantastic segue.
I'm a professional.
Got into digital marketing because my parents are in the home service space. So they also own a home inspection company, pest control company, big surprise. And most marketing agencies these days, and even in the past when they were hiring a marketing agency, suck. There's no, with pest control, it's tightly regulated in a lot of states. With marketing agencies, it's not. And so there's a lot of riffraff when it comes to marketing agencies. You got a lot of people that are freelancing. You got a lot of companies that are charging an arm and a leg, bringing in a lot of different employees, don't really know what they're doing. So that's my parents' experience entirely, is they hired some marketing agencies, charge an arm and a leg, bad communication, bad return on investment, not really looking out for the end business. And it's quite common, honestly. So
very common. Yeah. I've had marketing companies for multiple businesses I've owned over the years. And man, I've had a few that were just terrible. And I'm like, man, I'm giving you thousands of dollars every month and I'm seeing no return on this. I don't understand. No communication. What's actually happening with this money that I'm sending? Yeah, you don't really know what's happening. And then I've had some that have been phenomenal. And so finding a good marketing company that knows what they're doing, and the fact that you have grown up in pest control industry, like you understand the nuance of what it takes to build this specific industry, which is why I'm really excited to have you on the show today, because that's a really great background to have.
Yeah, no, it helps tremendously, because immediately when I go to talk to somebody, I know exactly, what their pain points are, how they're feeling, and what they need to do in order to fix things. I know the exact formula, right? It's just about executing that particular formula, and that becomes the tricky part. But when you communicate things, it's amazing when you actually communicate. You get everybody on the same page, speaking the same language, and moving in the right direction. So a lot of times these marketing agencies don't have, I guess I don't want to say the resources, because it's not even that. It's just a matter of they hire people that don't necessarily know the communication part and how to get in alignment with the particular company to make sure that your marketing is right. And to talk about that real quick, Matt, to give you an example, like you get people all the time that are talking about, well, I'm not getting a return on investment. Okay, well, what is the actual goal that we're tracking, and what are we doing for a marketing campaign that's actually going to deliver that return on investment? Take, for example, a web design. Are you going to look at a web design and you paid, let's say, $2,500, $5,000, or whatever for a web design? Yes, there is a return on investment on that, but it's totally different compared to, let's say, advertising, like doing Google ads or whatever. Advertising, Google ads, Google local service ads, meta ads, all that stuff, you're going to track and know an exact return on investment, and that's easy. Social media, for example, it's a whole different story, because yes, there's some ability to track return on investment, but it's all about building a community and building your brand awareness and leveraging that and increasing your authority. It's a different conversation. It's a different game. And when you have that kind of conversation, it's all of those things that build businesses. It's not just, yes, you could do advertising and do really well with lead generation and grow your business. It's everything that kind of is combined. When you start putting that together, mapping out a plan, I guess that's really where we thrive, is communicating on that and building the right plan. Because some pest control agencies or marketing agencies in general will be like, well, I'll sell you on SEO, and that's all they do. Well, that's great, but not if they don't need SEO right now. One of the things that I mentioned on some previous podcasts that I've gone on is a lot of times companies come to me and people have a preconceived notion, oh, I need to do SEO. Oh, I need to do advertising. Oh, I need to do this, because that's what they've heard. That's what they've known.
Right.
But thing is, if you don't have these foundational things right first, if you jump into SEO now, you're going to be wasting your money, right? If you don't have a good review request system, for example, and you don't have listings on all these important directory sites, such as your Google Business Profile, your Yelp, your Facebook, and you're not actively getting a good review rate, right? You don't have that system in place. You could spend all this money on SEO, but you're actually like swimming against the current by doing that. Because if you don't have the reviews and the review rate to help you, you're going to be struggling constantly. Not to say that you can't make progress, but that's just one of the little things and nuances that we need to get right before you just jump into any particular plan.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it sounds like you're pausing and going, hold on, let's back up and get a holistic view of the entire marketing process. Because I mean, I'm so guilty of this in any of the businesses I've owned. I'll be at a conference and I'll be talking to somebody in the hallway and like, man, you've had this great success. Like, tell me more. And they're like, oh man, I have this pay-per-click ad program I'm running, and it's crushing it. It's been doing great for me. And then I come home and I'm going to call up my marketing guy and be like, we got to do pay-per-click. Like my homie's crushing on pay-per-click, I want pay-per-click or whatever, whatever the thing is that's going on. And then the marketing guy was like, I mean, I can do pay-per-click. Yeah, it's going to cost you this much per month. They're like, yeah, we can do pay-per-click. And then they just start running pay-per-click ads. And then pretty soon, but it doesn't work for me. It worked for Joe, but it doesn't work for me, And so then like, well, why isn't this working? And then I get frustrated and I'm like, must be my ad agency, it must be my marketing guys, I was like, my guys suck. Who are your guys? And then all of a sudden you're switching companies and trying to figure all this stuff out. But Joe in the hall, he's got like the foundational pieces right, but he doesn't know how to say all that probably because, he's a pest control guy, he just doesn't. He's not digital marketing. He's not a marketing guy. He just, you know what I mean? Like I'm so guilty of this. I've done this so many times in my own life. And I'm like, if I can take that puzzle piece that you said you had success with and bolt it onto my business, then I'm going to have the same success that they have. And
that's 100% it. That's how
right. It happens all the time. And I'm so guilty of that.
Too. Yeah. Yeah. And you're not, I don't want to blame you for that because like, as business owners or whatever, we go to these conferences, we learn a whole lot and you get excited and you want to do all these things. Yeah, absolutely. But the issue is you need a trusted marketing partner that you can actually have a conversation with. And they're going to be like, well, Matt, stop. What are you doing? Okay. I get your friend is having this great success with pay-per-click, right? I know he expressed this. Let's talk about these couple things first and really get this, equation right before we just jump in. I'm happy to take your money, Matt. If you want me to take your money, I'll take it. But I think we should do this first and focus on that. And that's part of the conversation that I do have with people. To give you a perfect example of this, I have a company. I have multiple companies that are clients that have a really killer review rate. So they have really good reviews. Mm-hmm. They answer their own phones or have a really good person that answers the phones for them. And they are in certain markets that are just perfect for Google local service ads. Perfect. And the reason why they're perfect is because they answer the phone really quickly. They have like a really competitive number of reviews and they already have a good brand presence in their particular region. Mm-hmm. And the competition and cost right now for Google local service ads in their area is low. So they are shouting WolfPack's name to the rooftop about how well their Google local service ads is performing. It's great, right? Yeah. Now, Matt, let's say you're in Miami, you're in Texas, you're in Dallas, you're in Southern California, and you go to one of these conferences and you talk to one of those clients of mine. And you were like, well, I needed to start doing that. Yeah. The problem comes down to, well, we didn't look at the full picture, Matt, because you only have 10 Google reviews and you hardly pick up the phone. No offense to you, not saying you're actually doing it, but
right, yeah.
If you only have 10 reviews and you're not actually picking up the phone, we're swimming against the current here. We're not going to have the greatest success compared to there's another company in your area that has thousands of reviews, a really good call center. They pick up the phone. Their phone people get commissions on everything, so they're selling it like hotcakes for whatever it is. They have a solid system. They're going to crush it. And you are going to experience really high costs and you're not going to pick up the phone and then Google's not going to like you as much and you're going to get pushed down further. So instead of trying to play that game, we need to, if we want to play that game, we need to play it right or we need to play a different game. And that's part of the conversation that I have with people because Google local service ads, as you know, Matt, it used to be so good. And now it still can be really good, but it takes a little bit more work and knowledge to kind of game the system. So yeah, anyway, I went off on a little tangent there, but.
No, but Aaron, I love how you do that. Like you definitely pause and go, hold on, let's look at the holistic picture here. Let's not waste money on this because you're right. What works for me in my market and my business, it maybe not work in somebody else's, but maybe I have the right foundational pieces already instilled for this type of marketing, but maybe they have a different foundational pieces that let's activate on that because that you're going to crush it there. And just because pay-per-click worked for Matt or worked for Joe doesn't mean it's going to work for you because here's why. Like, I love how you back up and you have that holistic picture and you're not just going to take people's money and be like, sure, pay me, I'll make it happen. Like you actually look at the whole thing and you're giving people advice and helping them, okay, how to build this out, right? Like, cause I have thousands of 5-star reviews and on my thing. And I do have the people that answer the phone and I got all the stuff in place for that. Right. But I don't know about the other sides of marketing, what needs to be done. Whereas, working with you, like you're going to get that holistic picture and you're not going to Frankenstein your business, like, and I've done that before, like, well, I like the arm that guy has. I like the eyes of this one. I like the feet of this one. And you go to the conferences and you go online and start reading books and looking, and you're like, well, I like the way they're doing this and this. And then you pretty soon you've built a monster that doesn't really work right because, you didn't sit down and dissect it and go, here's the holistic approach to be able to look at the marketing plan as an entire human being, not just these little elements of what seems to be working today right now.
Yeah, I would 100% recommend for any company listening, if they're on the smaller side, obviously you're not going to have big budgets and you're not going to be able to afford a whole lot. But what I want people to do is play in their strengths at that point. So pick 1-2 things that are strengths of yours and play into those marketing strategies. For some people, they do amazing with TikTok, short form video, networking, that kind of thing. And there's tons of companies out there that are super successful with that. And that's all they do for their own marketing is like these social media videos, because that's all they need to do. And it's funny having conversations with them sometimes, because there's a couple of them on social media that I have conversations with just in the industry. And they're like, well, you don't need advertising. You could just do TikTok. And it's like, well, not everybody could do TikTok, man, like you. And just like TikTok, not to say like it's 100% luck, because I realize it's not 100% luck, but it's also like being a really successful business owner. You need some luck
you do
in order to do well. Not to say that I'm not discounting everybody's hard work, because it absolutely takes hard work and dedication, persistence, all that stuff. But you also need a little bit of luck with those things. But if I was a smaller company, spend the time in the areas that are strengths of mine. So what I like to do, my personality, pick 1 or 2, really dive into them, do them well. Once I know that it's actually working for my individual company and you start scaling your business a little bit further, that's where you have a little bit more money to spend. So now I can pick a couple different things that I'm going to try, and maybe I'm going to hire out for, or I'm going to start doing, whether it's the door knocking, whether it is the advertising, maybe you're going into SEO, maybe you're like, hey, my website needs a big revamp. I never focused on my website, so I'm going to do that. Or maybe you never touched social media and now you actually want to touch it. My challenge to you on that, though, for all those people is like, if you're going to touch social media, don't just like touch it and do it a little bit. Go all in with it. Really commit to it. And when it doesn't work, go harder at it until it does, because people are successful with it. You just haven't found the right way. I think a lot of people, especially myself included, I can tell you a little bit of a story going into Google search ads before like I did any of this. I tried for 2 years to make Google search ads work for a company. So originally I was a marketing and sales manager for a home service company. And I did that for 2 years before taking WolfPack for full time. And I worked for 2 years to do Google search ads before COVID even happened and all that stuff. And I was just like, how are these people having really good returns on investment? These people are going to these conferences and they're talking about how they're getting crazy returns on investment. They're spending so much money per month. And, it's really working for them. Like, they have to be lying. There's no way like this is working, right?
Right.
And it wasn't until I don't know what happened, but I can tell you what happened. Really, I broke down every single process, from every single item. I tracked every single phone call. I listened to every single phone call, and I realized, hey, the office team needs training on half of these phone calls. We're losing half of these jobs because we're not converting them. That's step 1. But then I'm working backwards into that. Anyway, my point was I was persistent with that, and I eventually learned how to make Google search ads work. It took 2 years, but then COVID happened, and all the marketing that I was doing previously was in person and the networking, and that's what worked for this company for so long. But now we had diversified our marketing strategy, luckily in time for when COVID hit. Anyway, I go off on that tangent just to say, like, if you're gonna start expanding into other marketing strategies, I get a lot of people that come to me and they're like, yeah, I want to try it. I'll see what it's like. I'll give you like 2 or 3 months. I'm telling you, 2 or 3 months right now, you're going to do it for 2 or 3 months, and you're going to realize if you didn't commit to it, especially looking at it every single week, you'll see it's not working, and then you'll just give up on it. And I can tell you there are people that are successful that do it all the time. You just need to find out what works. And anyway, Matt, I'm going off on another little tangent there, but
no, that's all right. So I like this idea. So you said something that was interesting. So like, I'm going to try this for a couple months and see how it works. Like, how much time do you like, especially if we're working with like Aaron, if we're working with you and like, okay, I'm going to come into WolfPack, and like when someone's going to come on board with you, What kind of a timeline do you think is a realistic timeline of like, I'm going to try this for 2 months, or should this be like, I'm going to try this for 12 months, or like, what's a timeline you say is like, because I guess I would be guilty of what you just said. I'll try this for a few months and see what happens. Like, what timeline is realistic?
Yeah. I love that you asked that question because it depends. It depends on your individual business. It also depends on your individual service. And I hate giving that answer, Matt. You're probably going to look at me and be like, of course this marketing agency is just saying it depends. Like, he just can't give you a straight answer. No, that's not the case. It's not the case, Matt. I promise. I'll give you a perfect example, okay? I have a brand new company that comes to me. He's not totally new, but he's got a brand new website. And he's trying us out to just do blog writing to increase website traffic for about 2 months. Well, the issue is not only from an SEO perspective, you're not going to see any particular traffic increase from Google. Usually you start to see it at the 3-month mark. Okay. That's on average. 6 months plus from SEO work, you start actually seeing the return on investment. Wow. A year after, you actually see, hey, this is the massive growth that we wanted, what we originally shot out for. But in the case of this guy's particular business, if he's brand new domain, Google doesn't trust that particular business. And it actually takes him a lot longer to build the trust and authoritativeness with Google a little bit before they actually go, oh, okay, this is a legitimate business. We can actually trust this company, this domain a little bit more. They're not going to be spammy. They're not going to be weird, and they're not going to flake out on us or change up on us. So they're more willing to show that type of content and search results for the articles that we're writing about, whether it's, how to get rid of ants in your house or DIY things such as that. So I will say it kind of depends on your individual circumstance because for that guy, I would say like even at 3 months, if it doesn't work, you still need to give it a little bit more time and be persistent with it. On average, it really just depends on the particular campaign type. Social media, give it 3 months. Google local service ads, within the first 30 days, you should know exactly if it's working or not and then make the changes immediately. But what I'll say is if you're going to try something and you're going to do it and you're going to be like, oh yeah, I'll try it for a year. Okay, I don't want you to go in with, I'm going to try it for a year. What I want you to go in with it is, I'm going to check this either every week or every month, and I'm going to work directly with my marketing agency and speak with them as I have a relationship with them. Like they are my own marketing person, my trusted partner, like I'm an employee. If it was an employee, you'd be checking with these people every single week. And so at WolfPack, we send emails every single week, every Friday, of what we did for your particular company. And you can review it, let us know if you have any questions. And then every month, we'll meet with you, talk about what's working, what's not working, what we need in order to fix some particular problems. Because I get guys, don't go dark for 3 months. They started advertising. Well, guess what? Advertising hasn't worked for 3 months. Well, why not? Well, the advertising specialist has been sending you reporting videos that you haven't been watching. And those reporting videos, they specifically state, hey, here's this lead center that we gave you. These are all the leads that we brought you. I need you to tell me which leads are good and which leads are bad. We could do it for you if you want, but I have to charge for it because it's our time. But I need you or somebody to tell me which leads are good and which leads are bad. Tell me why. And if they don't do that, well, then we can't make any optimizations on the particular campaign. We can't fix any particular issue or can't tell you what's wrong. Most commonly, what happens, we've had little things, it seems little, but it's actually huge, where they never checked any particular leads. And all of a sudden they start telling us, well, like, I'm not getting any phone calls. Nothing's working. And we're like looking at their dashboard and it's like, I brought you 20 leads in the last 2 weeks. I don't know what you're talking about. Come to find out, they are using their cell phone for all the leads, and T-Mobile is blocking all the calls. So the 20 leads that they just got, T-Mobile blocked all of them because they thought they were spammy, because you know how all these call filters are going in place. So luckily, we found it a little bit earlier with this particular company, but there's a lot of cases that if you are not, I don't want to say you have to stay on top of these marketing agencies, but you need to treat them like a partner as an employee and actually work with them and communicate with them directly and have that two-way communication in order to actually be effective.
That makes sense. I mean, you're not on the other side of it. You don't know what's getting closed or what's not getting closed from your perspective unless I tell you.
Exactly. But, the thing is, there's a lot of people that, here, go to these conferences, or here on social media, on Facebook groups or whatever. I know of one particular AI company that is highlighting like their advertising services, and they're making fake profiles and saying like, hey, here's the return on investment. So they get all excited about a particular product or service that it's all AI or whatever. And yes, the AI world is exciting. And yes, they may have some really cool value propositions or whatever unique things. But at the end of the day, if you're not actually communicating and working through it, you're going to get fallen behind. There's no marketing agency or anything out there that is a magic pill. Never, especially in the world of marketing. You have to work it. Same thing with Google Ads. You can't just pay a marketing agency, whatever, and it's going to be a magic pill. You have to do your work on your end.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. I mean, right. It isn't like a full delegation of just, I send you money, business comes in the door.
I wish it was.
Like, I wish it was too, but just like, you're right. It's like, rather than, you have to, like you said, approach it like I'm hiring an employee almost, or I'm hiring like a partner to be able to do these things for me. You can't just completely abdicate everything off the table and just be like, I send money, you make things happen, but you has to be a back and forth. There has to be that communication. And without that communication, right, you're in the dark, they're in the dark. Like Matt's in the dark, Aaron's in the dark. We're like, I don't know what's happening. And on your side, Aaron's like, I don't know what's happening because I'm not getting any feedback. And then right, it becomes a breakdown in communication. And then, now Matt's frustrated because like I'm spending all this money, I don't see any results. And Aaron's frustrated. He's like, well, I'm doing everything I think I should be doing, but I have no feedback, right? Like it has to be that communication. And I think like I can look back, a number of years ago, I'd hired a company and I did that. And I just was like, here's money, make phone ring, like super caveman. You send money, you make phone ring, and it just doesn't quite work like that. There's a little bit more to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And especially in the case of that T-Mobile blocking everything, like
that's absolutely nuts.
How wild is that? Like, how would anybody know? Both sides are frustrated.
It's frustrating, obviously, for the company owner, but it's also super frustrating for us because it's like we send, a lot of these particular emails, and not say that it's everybody, but how many of those people that aren't giving that particular feedback is there optimizations for? And it's crazy too, Matt. Like how I mentioned earlier, you need to play into your particular strengths.
Mm-hmm.
When you're a small company, you absolutely need to play into your particular strengths. And one of the things that I would 100% recommend for everybody is don't answer your own phone. As soon as you can't, or you're able to, pass the phone off to somebody else. Whether it's a kid, your kid, your spouse, or you're actually hiring somebody part-time, you hire a company, whatever it is. Matt, I can't tell you, I listen to a lot of these leads and a lot of all the calls are recorded. And so if a company comes to me and be like, yeah, these leads, they're just not closing or whatever. I've had conversations, and this was actually one that is now one of our biggest fans. They had a terrible time on the phone. They didn't know how to sell on the phone. They'd talk about the strip charge. They'd talk about this on the phone, but they had no clue how to particular sell. They had the technician's mindset, and they were really good at being the technician. And they have to change that to the business owner and kind of have to get out of their own way a little bit. And so once we had the conversation, like, look, your close rate on these calls is like 10 to 20%. The average close rate that you should be shooting for is at least 33%. If you're not closing that, we have a problem. And here's a couple of things. We have this AI sales coach, and it transcribes every call, and then it gives you tips on what you could have done better. I want you to look at all these notes that it's telling you, because there's some real opportunity for you to improve. The money, a lot of times, the money in advertising is not necessarily made from the specific advertising agency. It is, obviously. A lot of times, the real money is made from really good sales teams.
Yeah, I see that. Like converting, because the higher, like you're paying the money to make the phone ring, and the higher conversion rate you can get on that to closing the deal is definitely where you start to see the biggest ROI. I see that too. I'm like right now, one of my companies is a home inspection company. And in the beginning, I did everything, right? I'm answering the phones and I'm doing everything from the ground up. And then, getting myself off the phone, was a really good decision. But also, like my marketing style and who I am as a person, I'm definitely like out there and very social, and I've got I'm kind of charismatic, and so like I go to all the networking events and I make friends with everybody, and I can be kind of the life of the party if I need to be, and I know like a lot of technicians, that's not like how they function, right? That's not how they carry themselves. And so for me, doing TikTok videos, or, I was pretty heavy on Instagram when I first got started. And so I was shooting every day. My story was full of me like finding stupid stuff on houses and making fun of mistakes that I find. And, I just made it funny, and like, was just all day long. That's all I did. And then, I would show up places like networking events, and people would be telling me, he's like, dude, I watch your Instagram all the time. That's hilarious. Remember that one house that had the spider with the thing? And in my mind, I'm like, man, I don't remember this because I shoot stuff all the time. But to them, they're like, that one with the dead raccoon in the pool. I'm like, because that was one of the ones that was like disgusting. It was a half rotted raccoon corpse in a pool. And I made this whole freaking Instagram about it, and like made fun of it. And I like named him, and like I gave him a name, and like I was like, oh, Stuart's having a real bad day today, and like it had nothing to do with home inspection. It's just some stupid thing I found, a dead raccoon in a dry pool. But like, so like but everybody's like laughing, and like they see me and they're like, oh yeah, you're Matt, the home inspector. And they would be like commenting like in real life. And then also on the actual videos, I was getting a lot of like interactions on it, but that was my personality coming through on that. So like for like what you say, like the TikTok guys, right? Like I can do the TikTok thing because I got the right personality for it. A lot of guys they can't do that, and so they need to do something different. And so I think like you said, leaning into your specific strengths and gifts and talents and kind of who you are, and the company, the kind of the culture of how you carry yourself and how your business operates, and and how do you build off of that. Aaron, I love how you're like, again, like you back up and you look at a holistic image of like who they are, what the team members are, what your foundation pieces are. It's not like, send me money, I do SEO, like that doesn't, that might be the answer is SEO, but like you say, there's so many different ways in marketing that you got to lean into that,
100%. And I liked what you said going there about your Instagram stories, to talk about that a little bit. It wasn't until like 2 years ago, maybe, that I actually got in my own social media. I had like, obviously I was on social media, but it was more personally, and I didn't do anything professionally for myself. Besides, obviously, we're a marketing agency, so the company itself had its own marketing and still does. And a lot of times now, what I'm doing in the last 2 years is building my own personal stuff and kind of being a little bit of a brand image. And so what you mentioned about people talking about you is, I've created some humor groups. And Matt, I don't know, are you in those humor groups?
Maybe like industry humor groups, like pest control humor groups, and
there's a pest control humor group, and then there's there's pest control humor depot. So if you're in that one, you need to be in that one. And then there's also home inspector humor. So you should be in the home inspector humor one, since you're a home inspector.
Both of those on Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay. I might be in both of those. I'm in a few like funny groups like that where they post like the random stuff they see, and it's hilarious.
Okay. Well, definitely check it out after this podcast. But what I'll say is I started posting a lot of humorous content. And initially, I was getting a lot of audience views and everything else. And you might think this for your business too, is doing it initially, maybe a lot of people not watching you or anything like that. But then you start getting some people that are watching you, and your impressions are going up, but you're not seeing like an increase of business. And this happens with a lot of people as they start with social media, and then they're like, what's my return on investment on social media? Well, a lot of times what people don't realize, and I know this is again like a little like, I don't mean to do this, Matt, so I promise, but what we need to have is that marketing funnel to where we need to reach out to cold people and constantly warm up that particular pipeline. Because what will happen is they will see our videos on social media, be like, kind of get a frame of reference for who we are, but it's not ready yet in terms of getting a conversion then. And it's not until they actually do a Google search and then they see your advertisement that they actually convert. But it was because we warmed them up with social media that they had the reference of your particular brand, right? So I go this long route to say, when I started making those funny videos, I started going and attending these particular conferences, and same thing. everybody is pulling me aside, talking to me. Oh, it's so funny. You're so funny, blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
And I don't even know any of these people. And then all of a sudden they're in a sales conversation with me talking about marketing, which is great. I love it. I feel really bad because I'm like, I don't know your name. I'm sorry. And they're like, I've been following your stuff for so long or whatever. Anyway, so when I get to that now, I've done it now for 2 years. And with this time that I've done it, it took 2 years, again, of persistence of doing it. And now I get DMs almost every single day of people looking to speak with me about their digital marketing strategy.
2 years.
2 years. And I'm not even that big on social media. I'm really not. You don't need to be huge, because I just need to be in my target audience, and my target audience of pest control owners and home inspection company owners on social media, on Facebook, it's pretty limited. It's not that you're not talking about tens of thousands of people. We're talking about maybe a couple thousand,
Right. So, yeah. It's small market. Right.
Yeah. So the fact that it still took me 2 years, like, there's so many people that give up, and there's so many people that say, oh, this doesn't work for me. But I enjoyed the time that I did with it. And I was persistent with it. Same thing with the advertising. And it was a strength of mine. And so because of that, now I'm in a wonderful position to where I can continue to post content, but I have a constant drip of, leads that are coming directly from direct messages. And when I go to these conferences, people know me.
So when you're doing the social media stuff, so one of the things that I kind of latched onto kind of by accident was like a phrase that pays for me. So like, and I just kind of piggybacked off of Monday Night Football. I forget the announcer's name, or maybe it's on ESPN. The guy's like, "Come on, man!" When people are like screwing up the football plays, oh, come on, man. And so I started doing that I would see things in a house, and for me it was like, I was like, oh man, check this out, and I like have the camera flipped around, whatever, and then the oven collides. Like, can't even open the oven because it collides with the door handle hardware of the drawer or something. And like, you can't even open the oven and put something in if you wanted to, you have to like pull the drawer all the way out of the cabinet just to be able to open the oven, and it's like, obviously this stuff, so I'd be like, come on, man. And so I started doing this like, come on, man thing. And it started like kind of getting some traction and stuff. And so like, I just think, like, even with like pest control, like, I don't know, like, I like to kill them dead, like kill them all or whatever. Like, if you had like your own little like common like phrase that you used all the time, like it kind of helps with some recognition. And so it's like, look what I got to kill today, and so like, I think especially with like, if you're like doing critters, and maybe you're trapping and releasing and, and like maybe name, I'm just thinking in my head, I'm just like, I'd be naming the animal every time, and it's like, oh man, this one's little Johnny. Little Johnny's going to find a new home in the desert, or whatever. And like, if you're rehoming it or if you're killing it, that's different too. Maybe you don't want to name it, but like, or like, I wonder what that would taste like, I don't know. Like if you're like, I'm just thinking in my head, like finding like a funny like phrase that you could use over and over and over again on social media. And it kind of creates this funny, like reoccurring joke of like what, and you don't even have to be like for me, I'm kind of like the bubbly guy, but even if you're like super stoic as a person, that would almost make it funnier. Like the dry humor of like, if you're really like a stoic person, to be able to be like, look what I killed today. I think I'll name it Fred, and like, even if it's not like, I don't know. I think leaning into your personality, whatever your personality is, and like finding your common phrases and then making it kind of resonate every time and it's just every day, you're whatever you're killing that day or whatever you're inspecting that day or whatever you're finding that day or whatever it might be, I think finding that common theme, working it. And like you say, just time over time over time. People didn't comment on my Instagram stuff. I felt like I was doing it every day for probably 6 months before I got people starting to even say or anything, any kind of feedback. It was probably a solid year and a half in before all of a sudden it was like people would come up to me and be like, yeah, come on, man. And I started hearing people like tell me back, come on, man. I was like, oh, this is actually clicking and resonating. And so I just, like that 2 year mark, you say, like, that's pretty incredible. Gary Vaynerchuk, I was Gary V, Like he does a lot of like that social media marketing stuff. And I think that's where I kind of got the inspiration of like, okay, I'm just going to post content every day. I don't care if it's like professional or not. It's just raw. It just is. And so, so then I just started just posting stuff, and some of it, like I would look back and be like, that was such a stupid post. I look like an idiot, and I'm like, whatever, let it ride. It doesn't matter. And just, it is what it is. But Gary Vee would talk about that. Like you have to do it consistently all the time. Just put as much content as you can out there. Don't overthink it. Don't make it perfect. Just send it. And so I started just sending it like that. And this is, probably 5 years ago now, 6 years ago when I was doing that. But yeah, it took me a long time to get that traction. It took you 2 years to get that traction. Don't give up. Yep. I think people give up on the idea because they don't see instant gratification. And I think in our microwave instant gratification world, it's hard to be consistent with something like that.
Yeah. I mean, going back to what you were saying earlier, you go to a conference, you hear from a friend, you read something online, and people say, oh, they had such great success, and they want that same gratification. But it's I really wish it was, but it's not like that. It does require a lot of work, a lot of communication on both ends. Going back to the trending thing on social media and picking something that works for you. There's a TikToker in the home service industry, and all he did was point to things. I'm sure you probably have seen it, Matt. Where is that with
the finger on a stick?
Yeah,
the prop.
Yeah. Now everybody's doing it because this one guy, he doesn't talk. He just points.
Yeah. You just see the little plastic finger on a little stick, like pointing at things. Yeah.
Yeah. Now everybody does it. And then this guy, that was his famous thing. So I wanted to go hit back to that just because some people don't even want to talk. And we work with companies that we're like, hey, we really need you to send us video. Like the video is working really, really well. I don't care what you need to do. You don't need to talk. You can just point at things, right? We, of course, have companies that we'll send training ideas to, and they do like different dances. There's some guys that dance and whatnot, and different pest control companies get real fun with it. But there's also some that, just post their particular stuff, and that's okay too. Or there's one person on their team that is just, dedicated to doing these videos. But like you mentioned earlier, putting yourself out there and just doing it and getting the repetition in. If it's not good, nobody's going to see it anyway on social media. So you don't need to worry about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And nobody's judging you. Like that's the other thing too. It's just get over yourself. Nobody's judging you.
I don't know about that.
I don't know. And you know what? But even if it's a terrible video and the terrible one goes viral, like there's like all press is good press. Like even if it goes absolutely terrible, like not terrible, but if it's like it's hilarious or if it's embarrassing or something like that, it's like just get comfortable, let it go, and just totally send it.
I got a funny one for you on that. I on my social media, I was experimenting a little bit, and I was there's one that I posted that's me dancing with my sister's baby, so my nephew. And I at the end of it, it's like different clips of me dancing, and at the end of it, I twerked. And I had figured out during that dance, I had figured out how to finally twerk because I never knew like twerked. I never really attempted it all that much. But my sister was like egging me on about it, and it was real fun. So then there was another TikTok, and I was getting into that mindset of like, I just need to post something and figure something out. So there's some days where I just don't have a lot of time in it, and it's not good per se. Well, I guess this day I had decided that I was going to do whatever. I think I was in a battle for somebody of like outfits. And at the end of it, like I was showing my outfit for the day and on like Reels or something. And at the end of it, I twerked to the song just like for 2 seconds. And that's the thing that freaking like just everybody had seen. And that had become the conversation for a whole week on my social media about me twerking. And I wouldn't be surprised if I go to one of these industry conferences coming up here in a few months and people are like, oh, yeah, you know how to twerk, right? And I'm going to be like,
you're the twerking guy. Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. No, I'm the digital marketing guy.
That was AI. It wasn't me. It was AI.
You got it all wrong.
That's my twin brother. He's the twerker. That is so funny. Yeah, it is. It's like the people almost... the human side of it, right? You make a mistake and you're like extra silly or goofy or you just silly, like whatever it is, that humanity side, people relate with the humanity side of it. And so it's like you screw something up. Like I did that all the time. I would, there was one time where I shot a reel and I was talking about we live in the desert, of swamp coolers, like kind of like air conditioners. And so I was shooting a thing and I dropped my phone and it was recording video and it slid down the roof and off the roof, because it was up on the roof, off the roof down into the bushes, right? And it was still recording that whole time. And so like I got down, I grabbed the video, I grabbed the phone, I like reached, I pulled the bush, and I just went with it. I just pulled it out. I was like, well, that didn't go as planned, or something like that. And then like, and then I stopped the recording. Well, then like later that day, I was like, I'm still going to post it. So I took the video and I let it slide. I did the whole thing, and like and you can hear me in the background, like, oh shit. Like you can hear me like yelling, like, no. Oh shit, my phone. And like, you can hear it in the video. And because I'm thinking, my phone's going to be dead. So anyhow, I get to the end, and I pull it out, and I'm looking at it, and it's like, well, and I pull, it's like, oh, I think it's still working. I was like, well, that didn't go as planned, And then I stopped the recording, and I thought, well, that was really hilarious. And so I was like, just a real moment of me like dropping my phone on the roof and letting it slide off. And like, I was like, well, that's a really embarrassing moment of me kind of failing as a human. But I posted it anyway. I got so much traction from that. Like, unbelievable amounts of traction of me just screwing up, and I don't know, people relate to that. There's so much polished stuff out there. There's so much like professional polished things, the raw, like real, like thing. I don't know. I think people,
Matt,
I don't know. It's relatable.
Matt, I think you've earned yourself a new Instagram follower.
I don't post. Yeah. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it's the.matthew.williams. Not the one and only, the.matthew.williams. If you find me on Instagram, you can find me there. What you're going to see is a lot of podcast content these days. You're going to see a lot of leadership stuff. I'm not inspecting houses anymore. I own the company. I got a bunch of guys out doing it, and gals now out doing inspections and doing that. But you'll see a lot of podcast stuff. You'll see clips from these things coming on there and stuff. But in my story, you will see like my day-to-day stuff. Like you'll see me going to concerts. You'll see me just driving around and talking nonsense. And I just let it live in the story, and even then I'll be driving down the road and be like, man, this moment happened. And, I totally screwed this up and I wish I'd handled this better. Like I just put my successes and failures into my story. So yeah. And then on my link tree there, you can see all the stuff that I'm doing. If you want to follow me on like different podcasts or like my speaking stuff or coaching or whatever. Yeah.
While we're at it, if anybody wants to follow me on Instagram, you could see me twerking. And so if I gain any followers from this podcast, then I feel like it's a little bit weird.
What's the best way for people to get a hold of you, man?
Honestly, the best way, you can find me on any of the social medias. Just look at my name, Aaron Shishilla. I got a unique last name. It's like Chinchilla. Or you could just Google WolfPack Advising. You can go to wolfpackadvising.com. Check out our website. There's a whole podcast on there too, just talking about digital marketing. Matt, can you believe this? I actually recorded one today. You'd be so proud of me. I recorded a podcast today, and I am actually divulging my entire Google ad strategy of how I set up a campaign on the podcast.
Dropping the secrets.
Yeah, everything. So it's a good
all
one.
All the secrets. You can look behind the curtain on WolfPack Advising and see how the man, Aaron Shishilla,
the point that I stopped
Chinchilla, yeah.
So it is a podcast, and it is me recording my face. But the point I stop is I am actually talking through one of our companies that performs really, really well. One of our clients performs really well, and I'm walking through the Google ad platform. The only thing that I don't do on it is I don't share the screen. So you're not going to be able to see like their individual campaign, because I think that company would be a little bit upset if I did that. But yeah, it's all there. You'd be so proud of me, Matt.
I love it, man. So to get to your podcast, what's the best way to find that?
Yeah, Marketing Alpha on everywhere you find your podcast, but wolfpackadvising.com too. The podcast is all linked there. The blogs are all linked there.
Okay. And then you're twerking on Instagram. What's that link? Because
if you want the twerking, that's on OnlyFans only now. I had to move it because it was getting too popular. People need to pay money for that. No, I'm kidding. I think I should create an OnlyFans now just to see who pays for it. And if anybody pays for it, it's probably Matt. It's probably Matt's going to pop up as a notification on my phone.
Yeah, like, oh, you have a new subscriber. You have a new fan or whatever.
Matt, there's nothing there. Why did you pay? No, yeah. The social media, just Aaron Shishilla on any particular social media. There's some.
How do you spell your last name? Because people are going to ask.
Chinchilla, but instead of a CH and like a chin, it's just SH. So SHISHILLA.
Got it. SHISHILLA. Okay.
Yeah.
Aaron Shishilla. Man, it's been great having you on the show. Like we've had some good conversation, some silly conversation, but some good stuff, man. And I know if you're in trying to grow your pest control company right now, like you need a holistic person to come in and look at your whole framework and see what you need to do. Aaron's the man. He's been doing this for a long time. I've seen his success in the home inspection side. I've seen his success in the pest control side. Here's a guy that knows the industry in and out. And you're not just going to take people's money because you're going to take people's money. You're going to sit down and actually make sure that they're getting the best value for what they're spending on marketing.
Yeah, that's what matters to me. It hits home, and I talk about it every single time. Going back to that particular story, my parents, starting their particular business after 2008, 2009, and working with marketing agencies, and just kind of seeing that for themselves and firsthand on that. So that's what matters to me most, is making sure that the companies that we're working with are successful.
Yep, absolutely. All right, man. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. I'll see you around.
Thanks, Matt.